Hello people, this is Dr. Wang here recording. Welcome to this new class. We're going to talk about international trade due to the domestic equilibrium price in the framework of demand supply analysis. So you can find the materials from the canvas. The name is Chapter 1, Supplemental Materials. And I'm covering three cases and telling you how the exports and the import would happen in such circumstances, and who would get hurt and who would get benefits due to international trade. Back to the most basic framework of macroeconomics. So we have a demand and we have supply. So you should first know what construct this diagram. So the vertical axis is the price, and when the price is lower, then you will see the demand would goes up, and when the price is higher, then the demand would go low. Okay, so this downward slope curve is what we call demand. So when the price is high, you see the demand is actually pretty close to zero. But when the price is low, the demand is actually pretty high. It's because when the price is getting higher, less and less people would afford the stuff. And the positive sloped curve is called a supply. So we have a lot of suppliers who can produce at a very cheap level, but some of them cannot produce at a very cheap level. So they intersect with each other, and this is our equilibrium price and quantity. Okay, so you will see that's actually the market price and the overall buyer and sellers in the market with this product. So let's say this is the product of cars. It's a product of cars. So this happens only in our own country, domestic. Okay, so you have a U.S. demand and a U.S. supplies for the car market when there's no challenges from international competitors. So what is a consumer surplus? This area is called consumer surplus. Okay, consumer surplus. All right, so you have a lot of consumers, okay, who want to buy the cars. Okay, some of them can afford the same car at a very high price, and some of them can only afford it at a very low price. So for these people, they are not in the market. They cannot afford it. They cannot buy at the market price. And also for the suppliers, some of them are willing to produce at very low level, okay, like the petroleum market, like the oil market, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Kuwait, Iraq, Qatar, these Middle East countries, they can produce at a very low cost compared to the United States, compared to Russia. And Russia is kind of like here. Their drilling cost is much higher than those countries, so when the price is low, it's very tough for them. Okay, but back to our car market. So when the price is cut with the market level, so many producers will not be in the market anymore, okay, because the price is too low for them to sell. And for this consumers, okay, so this is our number one consumer. Is this person happy? The answer is yes, because he or she are willing to pay this high price, whereas the market is at this lower price. So this person is happy by this amount. The second consumer is happy too. The second consumer can afford a high price as well, but not as high as the first consumer. But when they're looking at a much lower market price, this person is happy too. So the third consumer, fourth consumer, and all the consumers along the line are happy. And this basically measures how much they are happy with. So the whole area here is called consumer surplus. And for those producers, okay, some of them can produce at a very low level. Okay, I'm talking about the price. So when they can sell at a level that is higher than what they are willing to sell, then they are happy because they can sell for more money. And our number two producer here is happy too, okay, because he or she wants to sell at this much, but the market provides a higher price. And number three consumers are happy too, and also all these consumers are happy. And altogether, this area is called a producer surplus. So that measures how happy the producers are as a group in terms of gaining utility, and that's actually the technology terminology here. Still, we get the idea that producer surplus is a benefit, consumer surplus is a benefit as well. Okay, so now let's see what happens if the country is facing international competition. Let's see, this is a world price. Okay, this is a world price. And the US just embraced itself to the rest of the world. But the world price is higher than the price in the United States. Okay, you see, this is a US price, and here is a world price. So this is the difference between US price and the world price. And does that affect the consumers? Yes, now the world price is the US price is driving up by the world price. Okay, so we're going with the world price in this country now. So a lot of consumers will be out of the market, he or she who could afford it previously, but they cannot afford the world price. But these people are still there in the market. So the new consumer surplus is this area. Okay, you can see the consumers are facing higher price, and the consumer surplus is reduced to this triangular area. Okay, previously the area for the consumer surplus is this much. So the consumers are getting hurt. Alrighty, if we look at U.S. suppliers, they are pretty happy now because the world price is higher, so these people are getting back to the market. They are able to sell at a higher price. So what would be your new consumer surplus? So these people would get a surplus too. So these are their surplus because the world price is higher than what they can sell it at. So the new consumer surplus is this much of a region. Okay. Okay, this is the new consumer surplus, and your old consumer surplus is right here. Okay, so you can see the consumer gets some gains by this much. Okay, and the producers get hurt by this much. Okay, so the overall gain is the consumer surplus, the additional consumer surplus minus the reduction of the producer surplus. So this is the overall gain of the economy. Okay, sorry, it's getting a little bit messy, but you should know the idea that this triangular area is the overall gain of the economy. Okay, so now I'll get back to the case of the import. What about if the world price is lower than US level? So this is your world price now. Okay, and right here is the US price, domestic price. You can see if the US is incorporating itself into the world, then the price would drop. And that's gonna make the consumer happy because these consumers, they were out of the market before, but because the world price is lower, they can afford it, and now they have a certain consumer surplus added to the economy. But who would get hurt? The producers actually would get hurt because these producers used to be able to produce because the US price was higher than they are willing to sell, but now they are facing a much lower world price, which they can't sell. If they sell at the world price, these people would have a loss, so they will not be in the market anymore. So the new producer surplus is this triangular area, and the new consumer surplus is this triangular area. Okay, so you can definitely see that the consumer are better off and the producers are worse off. All right, so what's the overall gain of the economy? So here is the increase of consumer surplus. This is a trapezoid area, and here is the reduction of producer surplus against the trapezoid area. And this little triangular is how much the whole economy is getting better off. So the lesson here is in the environment of a free trade, either the world price is higher or lower than the domestic price, there is a benefit to the economy due to free trade. The thing is, in the case of an import, world price is lower than U.S. price, the consumer of the U.S. get benefit and the producers get uh, hurt. In the case when world price is higher than the U.S. price, it is the U.S. producers get benefit and the U.S. consumers get hurt. But anyways, no matter what happens, the overall economy is improved. And back to this Word file. So this could be tested in your exam. So this is the case when there's no trade. You should know the definition from your microeconomics class. And right here, you have export when the world price is higher than the domestic price. So this triangular area is called a D, is the overall benefit to the economy. And D comes from the increase of a domestic producer surplus, which is a B plus D, this area, minus the reduction of consumer surplus in the US, which is B only. So D is the benefits. And the difference between the domestic supplies and the domestic consumption, what do we call that? That's what we call export. Okay, so when US produce more, the US consumers actually buy, then this actual stuff will be shipped out of the country to other nations. And in another case right here, the world price is lower, so the US consumers would get a better off. So the improvement of a consumer surplus is a B plus D, and the US producers would get a worse off. The deduction of producer surplus, okay, the producer surplus was area C only, but now it's a B and a C combined. So deduction of producer surplus is a B. So the overall benefit to the economy is a D only, all right? And the distance between these two curves right here is the amount of import. As you can see that when the world price is lower, the domestic consumers consume more than the domestic producers supply. So how to get those actual products for the domestic consumers, it actually comes from other countries through imports. So this basically tells you what the consumer surplus and total surplus and the producer surplus before trade, after trade, and the change. And this kind of question could be a multiple choice question in your exam.